Hello, ladies, gentlemen, non-binary finery, everybody else out in the audience, welcome. Glad you're here. Doing a quick stream. Probably won't be more than an hour. But I promised a couple of people a tutorial, a proper start to finish build, how to build for Tiny Factory, and well, now's about the only time I'm going to get to do it the next 3 or 4 days, so I'm just going to do it now, and oh well. So let's dive right in. Okay, so if you're not deploying via a blueprint, then you're going to wind up you'll build by hand, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It does add a little bit of complexity, but it's not terrible. We're going to do now I'm going to talk a little bit real quick. I have a foundry over here, which is my source for all of my peers and product. But most people won't have this, so I'm not going to use it for this build. Okay? So this is going to be a, quote, normal build. Once I've got it done and shown you how it works, I'll probably rip the smelters and refiners out and wire it into this. But for now, we're just going to do it the, quote, normal way. Okay? All right. There. Okay. All right, that's better. Okay, so now let's get on with it. So okay, I can turn this one off for now. All I care about is that red line. So we're going to build this on 2 floors because it's how I'm setting this place up. So we're going to put all of our lines down here, and our chef will be up top. Okay? What I have found works best is pick a spot, work back. So we're going to do that. So the first thing we need, of course, are refiners. Again, we're going to do this as a more conventional build. I'm not going to get into any of my fancy stuff. Alright, so you're going to go there. I'm going to leave a walking lane. You'll go here. I'll leave a walking lane. Okay. Alright, 1 second. Halvesies on the width of the walking lane. Go. And then same thing again. Otherwise we're going to bump into that silo, and I don't want to do that. So there we go. Go there. So I'm just, things are going to get placed roughly. Okay. Behind that, we'll put our smelters. We're going to do 3 lanes because it's the version that I hear the most questions about. How does it plug together, right? So we're just going to do that. The next thing I'm missing a recycler. 1 second. Next thing we're going to install is our recycler. recyclers. Pretty straightforward stuff so far. Okay. Now we're going to get into our metal workers and our... Okay. One sec, I have a cat wants up on my lap. There we go, one feline deployed. All right, so. Right, we're gonna deploy one of these here. Okay. And one here. Now, I've got a fourth one. And so I'm going to double up one of these lines, and I'm just going to arbitrarily pick the middle one. Okay. Here we go. All right. Go. Now we're going to, same idea, we've got, and I'm just going to, I just like the way they look better when they're vertical. Same thing here. Now we've got two more left, so I'm just going to arbitrarily pick the outside pair. And the important takeaway here is it doesn't matter how many of what get plugged in where, it's going to sort it out for you, all right? You do not have to be absolutely identical in every lane. Just what, and once you see how the thing plugs together, you'll understand why. And then we've got one left over, so we're going to put it to use. And again, we'll just pop it in the middle one here. Okay. And then we've got our chemical. We're going to install those. Stop that. Why are you doing that? Stop it. Oh, I forgot to wiggle the friggin' keyboard. Okay. That's a behavior that drives me nuts. Okay. So we've got those three installed. Now we're going to put our glass furnaces in. And again, doesn't really matter. You could put all three glass furnaces in the same, on the same lane. It just will complicate other things. So distribute as evenly as you can over as many lines as you have. But if you got oddballs, don't stress about it. Okay. There we go. So that's our three lines. All right. Next thing we need. Our containers, and And we're going to drop one here. Okay. There we go. That is our, so what I'm going to do here is just arbitrarily, we're going to call this one lane 01. All right, lane 02. And lane 03. Okay. All right. Next thing. Let's here. Get a mouthful of hot chocolate. Better. Okay. One key. All right. Now, we need two more things. A bin for ore and a bin for finished goods. All right, those will be next. Now, normally, yeah, anyway, you get the idea. So, there we go. Wrong keys, rename. And this is incoming ore. Now, just because when, and I'm just going to call this 03, and this one here, I'm going to call this incoming or 02 because, otherwise it's going to screw up some software elsewhere. Okay, so now we've got that. Okay, easy enough, right? So now we need to deploy some programming boards. If you don't know, oh, actually, sorry, the hubs first. Just trust me on this, you will want to deploy these as via the cargo hubs, because otherwise you will wind up invariably outgrowing your build over time. So there we go. All right, now we're going to hook these up. And that way we have some expandability in the future. And then we're going to rename copy. That's one. Two. And three. There you go. Name, copy. Name. There we go. Copy. And there we go. And rename. Okay, so that's all that set up. Next thing, programming boards. Oh, there they are. Oh, I'm short on switches. Okay. So we're going to need a programming board here, here, and here. And then we're going to need one here, one here, and one here. Just trust me on this. Now, I need a couple more switches. We're just going to go grab those out of my other inventory. deploy switches beside each of these. Alright, so now plug each of these, just going to move this one so it's a little easier to see what's going on. Now you're going to plug each one of these switches to the board beside it. Okay, like that. Now we're going to name everything. The first one over here is going to be renamed to customer. And the switch beside it is going to be named customer. The one in the middle is going to be named manager. And so is the switch. The one over here is going to be named chef. As is the switch. And then over here, these three are all line cooks 1 to 3. And as you probably guessed, we renamed the switch beside it to go with it. Now, you're going to deploy a screen and a database next. Okay. Looks like I didn't bring it. It looks like I didn't bring a database with me either. No, I didn't. Okay. All right, let me go get one. And we're going to set the database right beside this. Okay. There we go. It doesn't need to be renamed. In fact, it'll cause problems if you do. Just leave it be. So now we're going to hook up every programming board to the database. The order you hook them up doesn't matter. I just usually do them these three first and then the line cooks. Okay. Next thing you're going to do is connect manager. So sorry, my apologies. The next thing you're going to do is connect the customer programming board to the manager switch. Okay, customer programming board to the manager switch. You're then going to connect the manager programming board to the chef switch, and then to the line cook switches. Following? Okay. All right. Next, you're going to connect manager and manager. Oh, I need. Apologize, I'm missing the programming. Need another one over here, and it goes over the screen, and we need a switch beside it. And again, it's going to get wired there, and we're going to go from manager to the switch here. This also needs to go to the database, and it's going to be plugged to the screen. Okay. And then we're going to plug our manager to our core and our screen controller to the core. And we need to come over here, rename this one becomes screen. And this one becomes screen as well. All right. There we go. So at this point, the hard part's largely done. Okay. From here on out, it's more tedious than difficult. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to hook up all of the machines to this in this lane to this board. Okay? So I'm going to control right click so I can see what I'm plugged into. And we're just going to do this. Again, it does not matter the order you plug them in, they just all need to be plugged in. There we go. Turn this one off, we'll turn this one on, repeat the process. Rinse and repeat. Now I'm finding this a little bit congested here, so we're going to grab this and glue it over here. And I'll show you why in a moment. Plug everything into here. So I used my move tool, of course, to relocate that element. Here. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my move tool and hit backspace. And it teleports it right back to where it was, but leaves all the links intact. So that's a handy thing you can do, right? It's particularly useful when plugging everything into your various hubs. Okay, so now we're going to start. So that's all of these controls built in. Now we're going to deploy a few things for the chef board. Same idea. Okay. We're going to keep this relatively simple. One honeycomb unit. I'm just going to deploy one of each. For now, that's good enough. You probably would want to deploy multiples, but that does add a little bit of complexity. Particularly for the large and the medium, where the medium gets a lot of work. The stuff coming out of the small and the extra small tend to be fairly short jobs, so they clear pretty quickly. The larges, you can have jobs that are going to run for days, literally, and the mediums, you can have jobs that are going to run for hours. So having multiples of those speeds the process up. But you are ultimately limited by the number of connections you have to your board, right? Now we're going to grab this, put it up here where it's easy to get to, and start linking everything together. I'm on the Settlers server here, and they have a ridiculous number of plugs, so, but you'll find that there is a practical limit to the amount that your hardware can control. So 10 is about all I would put on your board. So we're up to, we've got 6. So let's just put a second large in. Second medium in. Now you could, of course, put a, if you want to do LUMI, you can put a, well, here you can see I've got a chemical furnace, I've got a glass furnace, so, etc. So whatever you need to output, this is where you plug it in, and it all gets plugged into the chef board. All right, back to move tool, backspace. Ah, bother. Okay, I just, I did it backwards. The board should have been the last thing I moved. Okay, that was my own fault. Bugger. Alright, let's just put it back. I'll have to move. Alright, so yeah, that's my own stupid. Alright, so you'll go there, and we'll grab you and put you back over here. Right, okay. So there we go. So this machinery is run by that chef. So now we're going to start plugging stuff in. Your ore, of course, is going to go to your, is going to feed your refiners, right? Oh, right. The hub, Michelle. The hub, not the computer. Keep doing that. Okay. Okay. Everything else. Now, those are your weirdos, right here. Now, in this case, this one here, we're actually going to move our, so it's easier to find. Just going to glue it to the ceiling here, right? And all of these are fed by this. So this is the lane 1, right? So they all feed, they're all fed by lane 1. All the equipment on lane 1 is fed by lane 1. Okay, now we're gonna go get lane 2, glue it to the roof. And now all of lane 1 outputs to lane 2. Okay. Okay, so all of lane 1 outputs to lane 2, and all of lane 2 is fed by lane 2. Sorry, mouse is a little cranky today, or more specifically, mouse hand. It's not really complicated, it's just a lot. Alright, and we don't want to feed this, we're already being fed, right? Okay. So we're going to put lane 2 away. And we're going to go get lane 3. Just stick it up here. Now, all of lane 3, sorry, all of, right? So, all of lane 2 feeds lane 3. Something weird going on here. Why? Oh, because I'm on the wrong lane. Oh my gosh. I'm being a goof. One sec. Okay. Okay. Sorry, being a goof. I was hovering over the wrong lane. Okay, so it's 2 going. 2 feeds 3 is what I'm supposed to be doing here. There we go. Alright, that was me being a dummy. But that just shows you how easy it is to get confused. second to realize the arrows were going the wrong way. So 2 feeds 3. So now that loads up 3, and now 3 gets plugged into to everything on 3 except the refiner. Go. So that's everything here plugged in. Right. So the last thing, so lane 3 is now being supplied. Now all we have to do is sort out lane 3's output, which is lane 1. So I'm just going to grab lane 1. Over here. And then all of these things output to lane 1. Everything over here plugged in, and that's been put back. All right. So that's roughly the worst of it. Okay. The last thing to do is install software. So we're going to go to Tiny Factory, and we're going to start with the customer. Copy the raw file. And paste configuration. Right, customer goes on to customer. Now we'll do manager. Go. Then we're going to do screen. Now screen comes in two pieces. There's the programming board screen, and then there's the LUA for the screen itself, which is just screen.lua. So the programming boards are all marked PB, screen is just the screen. Go. Right. Okay. Last one to do is chef/line cook. So chef, line cook, and waitress are all the same code. The only thing that's different is it checks to see what its own name is to figure out how it should run. That's the only way it knows the difference, is what the name of the board is. Which is why you have to be so careful about the naming conventions. Okay. Now, that's that. Now, it's extremely unlikely I got this right first try. Okay, there's just a lot. Okay. So, next thing to do is turn it on, troubleshoot it. And I'll show you how to do that next. Okay. However, we might as well. So, this is our linked container. And go grab a few thousand liters of all of our various ores. We're going to sort this by tier. I'm going to grab 3,000 of each. Yeah, you know. There we go. That's everything I need. Okay. So now we wander over to the customer board and we press the go button. And we see what happens. Oops, I got, one sec, I've got one running already. Yeah, don't do that, it'll just crash both of them. I'm just gonna go over here, turn this one off. There we go. So what should happen next is we should see the lights start coming on, switches at the various locations start to light up. That's your first indication you've done something right. Okay. And so you can see the number of controlled machines is going to start increasing as it communicates via the database with the various boards. And then you're going to start to see, well, so the default manager, customer, comes with a list of things to do already, right? And those are some vertical lights. So it's going to get to the job of building vertical lights for you. All right, so oxygen, aluminum. So it's spinning up the recyclers, it's spinning up the refiners, right? And we're already producing something, yeah, so we're chugging away here, right? And you can check the individual bins and you can see there's already product in them. Looks like we got it in the first try. We'll see what happens when stuff starts getting grabbed by the chef. Now, one of the reasons, while we're waiting on this to churn, one of the reasons I have a foundry over here is because it means I don't need any more than 2 recyclers for the whole damn place. What I do is I use a couple transfer units and I siphon off all of the oxygen and hydrogen into a bin, and only if this bin runs low do I bother. And all of these machines use this bin for their oxygen and hydrogen supply. And that way I waste very little product. Okay, we're making pure silicon now. Now you can make this as pretty as you want, right? Like if you go over here, you'll see I've been very aggressive about reducing the footprint. Right. So you can really cram. I made no attempt here at all to economize space because that just makes it hard to see the wiring. But now, once you know that it's working, go ahead and compress this. Right, stack stuff 2 and 3 units deep. One of my favorite things to do, actually, to save space, is on the vertical element, is to run these lengthwise down the sides. Right, you put the particularly the triangular ones, the glass factories and the chemical factories. You run, one and one note, and then everything in between, and then the other 2 down the other side, and it makes a pretty good looking little bundle. I haven't done that here because I'm just not that worried about the space economy. But yeah, it's a good looking way to economize. One of the blast furnaces is running already. All 3 of them are running. There we go. Now, what I'm going to do real quick is run over here and grab those machines will keep running, they're just not going to get updated. And I'm just going to drop this in here, and we're just going to say we'll do 330 liters. And we're going to turn that on. Again, you'll see, once you turn that on, your manager will get turned on, and then everything else will light up. Do note that it randomizes the order in which it turns things on. That's intentional. Okay, so we're making LEDs, we're making pure copper. Now wait a second, do I have a chem lab up here? Oh, I don't. Okay, can't, it's, I said Neutron, but I can't make Neutron. 1 sec. It's gonna be, I didn't put a chem lab up there, I needed it's honeycomb. Points to anybody who caught that. Let's see here. What do I go through? We'll do. What are you again? White pattern carbon fiber. Okay, thank you. Pattern carbon fiber. There we go. Over here. Edit this. I'm just hitting Control L there, by the way. We'll replace the nitron with that. And turn it back on. All right, I'm just gonna let this thing chew for a minute here or two. And down here, of course, you can see we've got all three of the refiners chewing away. And this is one of the things that is quite powerful about Tiny Factory is parallelism. 3 lanes, you get, you know, coordinated processing for of 3 times the product, right? Just about coming up on 1 hour, so we'll be done here shortly. Go. We're making some plastic. So chem plant's running plastic now. Iron and carbon on the refiners. And we're making carbon fiber product out of our 3D printers now. And we're making alpha alloy. And we're also making plastic as well. This is one of the coolest parts about Tiny Factory is that it can look very busy. You know, a lot of stuff packed into a small area, and when you give it a decent list of things to do, it starts looking awfully busy. Okay, 3D printer, line 1 is jammed. That means that it's not plugged into an output. That's you. Yep. So, okay, so... And we know that the output is always the next layer. Here we go. Problem solved. Yep. The most common reason for a jam is it's either not plugged into an output or the output is full. spare sodium. Need that for the advanced glass. Not bad music. Alright, electronics are running basic components now. And yeah, if you take a look at the various line bins, right, stuff being made. These are all your intermediate parts, right? We're batching up some calcium, still working on some sodium. Making some carbon fiber product. All looking pretty good so far. I'm actually pleased that only really one miss, which was the one piece of equipment didn't get plugged in for the output, but that's easy fix. I just remembered what the other mistake was. You'll see it when it comes up. Actually, we'll just fix it now. I didn't plug in the inputs to any of the equipment up here. Or the outputs. We just dropped it off. So it all needs to be plugged in. So let's get that done while we're waiting. So, move the chef board up here first. It's going to be easy to work. So, oh, no, these are all plugged into chef. Good. Cool. Now, can I plug... Nope, nothing float. Okay, so now what we have to do is that we have to grab all of these. So all of these machines have to be plugged into all of these here. So we're going to do that. This is just the easiest way I've found to do it, is do one after the other. And that way you're sure you've got them all. you can see, this is going to chew up a lot of plugs on the right. And this tends to be why you wind up with waitresses, is because if you have particularly complex output chains, you just run the plugs on the cargo hubs or the cargo containers themselves. Okay. And now all of them go back to finished goods. Yep, that's all of them. We can double check just by going down and looking at connections. So S, XS, L, M, L, M. Yeah, okay. That's right. Okay. Oh, there's the honeycomb one as well. No, I got it. Okay, good. Yep, no, looks there. Okay. And we're buzzing away here. Making the uncommon LEDs next. Shoot up a decent amount of ore already. It'll keep things humming. But yeah, see how quickly, because of the fact that it's integrated and it's doing everything it can to keep everything running all the time, it chews through ore pretty quickly, even for a relatively small build. It's always trying to be making something, right? Printers are making casings, electronics are making connectors, carbon fiber being made. Just going to keep the stream up until we see the first products hit the finish bin, just in case there turns out to be a problem I missed, so I can show you how to troubleshoot it. But yeah, once the first lights or whatever hit the bin, then we know we've got everything plugged in right. The first column, by the way, you've got the two columns of numbers here. The first column is have, the second column is need. So any time that have is less than need, that's how it decides it's work that needs to be done. Let's go take a moment here. Oops, no, exactly not enough jump. That's fine. Hey, look, more jump. Ah, we're producing. Perfect timing. There we go. We're producing our carbon fiber, and you'll see what it does is it assigns that as a maintain. So that's how it knows to make enough. Nothing assigned there because we haven't gotten to anything that needs them. There we are, vertical, right? This one's waiting to be able to make a vertical light. We're just missing components, so it needs uncommon power systems, uncommon lights. So it's chewing away. All right. And you can see chef, honeycomb refinery, white pattern carbon fiber. sure enough, there it is. Just from here. So what that should immediately do is trigger this to make more, right? Because we're now empty. While we're waiting, don't have enough. Okay, we'll grab half that. Any improvement's good improvement. Yep, somehow. There we go. Ta-da. Right. So building the factory to build the factory. Very typical tiny factory operation. And now it's just going to go ahead and make more. So that's it for the tutorial, folks. I hope it was useful. Sorry about the couple of little foo-foos in there that may have been confusing. Nope, what do we have here? We need ore. We are out of... Okay, we need pure. Alright. That's easy. Yep. Gulp back 6,000 liters of coal since we started, but okay. But yeah. That's just about it, folks. Thanks very much for hanging out. Do appreciate you. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, do throw them in the comment section below, or reach out to me via Discord or via email at the email address below. I would love to hear from you. As I say, I hope the tutorial, such as it is, has been valuable. The big takeaway is it's not actually difficult, it's just tedious. There's just a lot of plugs. It's not that the pattern is difficult, it's just that there's a lot of it. So if you just take your time, you will be able to put together a tiny factory of essentially any size. Right. There's, you can build practically, essentially the limit that we found is when your controlled machines number here gets up above 38, you'll start seeing CPU errors. Now, Syncopia has come up on Settlers, has come up with a way around that, using a modification to the way the switches are set up. I'm going to be doing, they are using a programming board to basically cycle the switches, which cycles the boards one after the other. So you leave a board on for 30 seconds, turn it off, move to the next board. And so at no time is there ever more than, 10, 12 machines running. And that gets around most of the problems. I'm working on a way to do that with